There have been a few object lessons over the last 6 years that I've received a lot of feedback about, and all of it has been positive, and the Armor of God game is one of those. It's a game that not only teaches your kids about the armor of God and the different pieces of armor, gives you a chance to talk about those things. It's just fun, you guys. It's fun to play. It's fast. It's one that you could play with a bunch of different ages at once. So if you're in a family setting and you've got a bunch of cousins over or your grandparents are coming over, this is a game that everybody can play at the same time, and it's always fun. If you're in a big class, like a seminary class, you may want to print out a few of these. I found if you've got more than like 8 or 10 players, it's a little hard to kind of all fit around the cards well. So I would cap it out at maybe 10. And if you have more than 10, then print a few versions of this game. But it's really simple. It's a fast-moving dice game, and it's got a few components to it. So in addition to the box and the cards, you're also going to find full instructions. So if my instructions here don't make a lot of sense, I promise they're printed up for you so you can find them. But the goal of this game is that you can kind of hold up the different cards and teach your kids about what the armor of God is. This one you're going to want to go in the creative notes, and I give you some breakdowns and some links out to the church website so that you can identify each one. So for example, this is the breastplate of righteousness. This is a bigger card, and it's going to lay in the center of the table. All the different armor cards will always be visible so that your kids will get really familiar with each of these parts of the armor. Then you're going to play with these cards by having point cards. So each point card represents a different scary guy of some sort or another, and the points are going to be laid next to the armor. This is what you're using the armor to combat. And the goal here is to conquer these points and gather them into yourself. So over the course of the game, you're going to try to get as many of these cards as you can. The way you get those cards is actually pretty easy. Each player has 8 dice. It helps if your dice are different colors. Like one person has all the pink dice and one person has all the purple dice. If you have the game Tenzi, it's a great tool to use in this one, but if you don't, you could also go on Amazon. They've got bulk dice in a bajillion colors and they're cheap. So buy whatever you can. If that's not an option for you and you're playing in a hurry and you don't have time to gather that many dice, you also could just play in teams. If you've only got a handful of dice, then play in teams. You just want to kind of sift it around so that everybody has 8 dice. And the game goes pretty fast. You have 5 rounds to play and gather points. And since there's a point value associated with each armor card, your hope is that you can win that point. In order to get those points by the end of the round, you're rolling your dice. So you're going to roll your dice and you're going to evaluate your dice to see where you want to play your card. So for example, this breastplate of righteousness always holds dice that are showing a number 2. So if I roll my dice and I look at them and I can see that I've got 4 2s, I'm going to take those 4 2s and I'm going to put them onto that breastplate of righteousness. What's strategic about this game is you also want to watch where other people are placing their dice. Because I don't want to put my dice in a place where somebody else already has 6 2s. They're probably going to win. The person who's going to win this point card associated with the 2 is the one that has the most dice at the end of the round that's on that card. So you kind of have to be strategic and be like, well, she's going for number 1s, so I think I'm going to roll for 4s. And you're all rolling fast at the same time so that you can place your dice all simultaneously. And you'll do it a few times over and over again. And then at the end, when the time runs out, you're going to stop. Once all the dice have been placed, you stop and everybody evaluates. What's tricky and adds a twist of strategy is that if you have 2 players that have the same number of dice on this card, like if I have 5 2s and Will had 5 2s and we both have them on this card, we cancel each other out and the next highest number of dice wins. So it's kind of fun at the end when you can tell things are running low and it's getting towards the end of the round. You can kind of sabotage cards where you think there might be a tie happening. If there's no other players on that card, then you just roll a die between the 2 of you, decide who wins the points. But you play that 5 times in a row and then you tally up points at the end, decide who is the ultimate winner of the Armor of God challenge. What I like about it is it makes it really easy to have a conversation about the armor of God, why we need it, why it teaches us so much about how God is trying to empower us from within. Every time we put on this armor of God, the helmet of salvation, and we hold the sword of truth, or the sword of the Spirit, we start to learn more about God's training program, what He wants our muscles to look like by the end, and how that increased strength through the help of Christ and this incredible armor, we become somebody who can stand in the presence of God, just like Moses did, and be okay. In fact, be joyful in His presence. That's what this game teaches you. So hopefully you have fun with it.